Alright, now the Pilgrimmed update has been out for like 3 or 4 days for the Junkpits, right? And I hope, that I now have every weapon and I can now showcase it in a video. Unless there's some sort of secret shop or like chest in the Junkpits I haven't found, I should have every weapon. So, without stalling, let's just get into it, alright? And the first weapon, which I can show right now, is the Metacrab Termina. This is dropped from the Metacrabs, which are found all around the, what's this area called? The Mire of Iron, I think? Yeah, the Mire of Iron, and they have, what stats? 40% pierce and plus 15% crit chance, and pretty decent damage. They also inflict bleed on their M1s, and the heavy attack is a spin, which is similar to the Metacrabs. Now for the technique, you spawn in a like barrage of nails, I think, right? I can actually go test it. It's right in here, there's metal heads, and you can stun them. Can I? Does it do anything? No, apparently it doesn't do anything. Okay, I don't know why it's not doing damage, but you get the point. Now, the next weapon that we're going to be looking over is the Graphite Lance. Where is it? Oh, here it is. I'm blind, I can see it. Now, just want to quickly say that the order for the start of this video is going to be mob drops first, and then I'll get on to the crafting items. So, if you want to skip ahead to the crafting items, there should be timestamps for them, and if you just, recognise them, you should be able to make it to them. But the Graphite Lance is a heavy spear weapon, which does, how much damage? It does 52 damage with 50 pierce and 15% crit chance. So that's pretty good damage, and then the last M1 does extra damage, so pretty good to know. And then the heavy attack is a big uppercut, which also does lots of damage, which is pretty convenient. And then the technique, which it has, is a gallop, which does pretty decent damage. And I'd probably use it to evade stuff to give super armor. Anyway, where this weapon drops is from the Graphite Knights, which have a 10% chance to drop it. You can find them. I'll quickly show. I won't go all the way over there to save time. I don't want to bloat this video too much, but over there you do see it. That is Mount St. Rhubarb, and over there is where you can find the Graphite Knights. Additionally, they can also be found in landfill, around the start of the landfill. So if you want to go over there, you'll also be able to find them. So they're not too hard to kill. I'd recommend going over here though, because there's like 2 of them really close by each other. And anyway, on to the next weapon. Now next up we have the kitchen knife and the green gloves. I'll first go over the kitchen knife. This was obtained from the killer chicken, which can be found, I don't know if I can show the right location for it, but it's around here. There's a guide by Freehandy on how to find it, so I'd recommend watching that, because he explains it pretty well. You just need to kill the rusty pig first, I'm pretty sure, if you want to get it, because to get the egg of pain, you need to, I think, kill the rusty pig. I'm not sure. But the kitchen knife has M1s which inflict bleed, and they do 42 damage with 25% pierce. So they do pretty good damage. And then the heavy attack's a slam, which I think it always inflicts bleed. I can test it. Wait for it to run out. Yeah, it always inflicts bleed, which is quite good. And then the technique is 5 slashes, like on a roll like that, with a secondary technique, which you can see here. So if you M1, you'll see a glint at the end of the blade. See it now? And then when you M1, you can time a slash, and you can chain it like a lot of times, like it's infinite. It does a good damage, so pretty good weapon. And then the green gloves. The green gloves are fist weapon, which do 28 damage with no pierce and minus 20 swing speed, so might be quite hard to kill armoured enemies, but they have a 3 in 1 combo with a heavy attack that gives iframes, and it's like a dash. If I can do it again, does it have a long cooldown? Doesn't. And then the aerial is a slam, which has 2 hitboxes. It's like a slam and then a shockwave, so pretty unique. And may as well get on to the next weapon. The next weapon is the Dawn Pampura, which is obtained from is it Conservator Lorcan? I keep forgetting his name. I think it is, yeah, Conservator Lorcan. He can be found if you take the mirror to the Scavenger's place. He can be found up on top of the river, if I can check the map. Around here, near the guild. And he drops this weapon 100% for first time you kill him. And you can respawn him by joining the guild and then talking to him. So actually, I don't need to run over it. You know where it is. If I can go back. Yeah, you've just at the waterfall, so you want to go there. And this weapon, I actually can't use it right now because I need 50 strength to use it. So let me get on the Lyre. The Pig Mask. Gives me a lot of strength. And there we go. I have heavy on it for some reason, so it's going to swing really slow. But it does pretty good damage, a good 64 damage. And as a, what would you say heavy for? Is it a slam? Yeah, it's a slam. Does it have low crit chance? No, it doesn't. I don't know why I'm not getting any crits with it. Just unlucky. But the technique for this weapon is Tempest Arts, where you can go shock or water. Water makes it so it gets soaked on enemies, and then the final slam of your M1 combo. Does like a wave like Sail Lord. Same with the heavy as well. And then there'd be a shock. Puts lightning on enemies and does like a little strike whenever you M1 in front of you. And the heavy attack does the same thing. So does pretty good extra damage to the lightning. So that is the Dawn Pampura. Now the Avenger's Axe is both a craftable and dropped item. You can find it craftable over here. And the man in the window, you can get it. It's pretty cheap, it's not too expensive. However, I'd recommend trying to get it as a drop first, because if I find, where is it? Down here, the enemies that drop it's the Avengers. It's a 10% drop chance, and they are very abundant over in the landfill. So if you go around over there in the landfill, you should find some, and also up near the river, you also find a lot of them. And what this weapon does is, if I can test that. It is similar to the Scrap Sickle, where it hits twice, and it also inflicts bleed on them ones, but it's an axe. And then the heavy attack is a guaranteed crit, and if you actually get a crit when you crit with an axe, obviously you know it does a pink crit, which does extra damage. So overall, this weapon is really good, because it has a lot of pierce as well. I think it has a 50% pierce with actually 20% crit chance to it. Yeah, this weapon's really good. So anyways, on to the next one. Now the next few weapons are going to be inside of Crono's factory from enemies, and the first one is going to be the Minigun. This is obtained from the Rusty Pig. I'm pretty sure it's a, is it 50% or 100%? I think it's 50%. Yeah, 50% drop, and Rusty Pig is found out front of the factory. So if you go at factory approach, and if you don't know where any of these mirrors are, I have a video on where the bosses are. You can watch that. And you just want to go up there, and the pig should be up there. I can go back. This weapon's unique. Oh, not too unique. A lot of weapons have an overheat meter in this update, but unlike other guns, it has an overheat meter, not any ammo. And when you shoot, oh wait, I'm aiming for cursor. It does a pretty decent amount of damage, but it overheats instead of using ammo. So you need to make sure it doesn't overheat or else it'll go on a long cooldown. Now it doesn't have any heavy attack, but it does have a tackle, where you just can't do a bash. That's if you're, you know, overheated, you just use it. No, you can't even use it when you're overheated. Never mind then. But the stats for it has 40% pierce and 10 damage, but it does not feel like it has 10 damage. It does like 1 damage. So, it's pretty good though. I'd recommend using it. And honestly, I could probably talk about the next weapon right now. The next weapon is the Knight's Glaive. This is obtained from the Candle Knight, also found in the factory. I have a video on where he's located, so if you want to check that out, you can. And what the Knight's Glaive does is it has really unique M1s, where it does 3 M1s like that. And it doesn't burn with M1s, but it's burned with the heavy attack. It's burn, it does that. And you have iframes for all of the heavy attack, by the way, which is insane. So make sure you're using that to avoid attacks and you get like lost damage in. So the stats for it is really simple, it's just damage and pierce, so no extra sync speed or anything, so pretty cool weapon. Now next up we have the Dreamdust Flask. This can be found as a very rare drop from the Harvester ones. 5% pretty rare. I'm actually going to show where these are in case you don't know. I'll try and make it quick though, I don't want to upload this video too much. But I think that they are they where the red keycard is? I think they are. Yeah, this way. You want to climb up here. As I said, I'll try and make this quick. I don't want to do this for too long. The video will be like an hour long, I think. You want to take a left. And then up, right on through here, ignore this drone. And there will be 2 down here which you can kill, and there's also more if you go for the vent. So, can I not use the mirror or not? I can. Here we go. Let me go literature. Oof. And what this weapon does is it's very unique because its technique puts this kind of like gas on enemies and keep using it. And look, it does these golden spikes which stun the enemy. And it's pretty basic M1s. Nothing too special, just regular heavy weapon, and it also has no pierce, no. But the technique for it is what builds up the transmutation, which turns the enemies to gold. The heavy attack puts bleed on enemies and also puts the gas down, and it has a variant where if you do 2 M1s, actually 3, and then do it again, and it's like a bottle flip. So the end of your M1 combo you can do it again, and this gas travels forward, it seems. Doesn't it? Don't know why it was. No, yeah, it does travel forward. So, pretty cool weapon. Not much to say, but I'd recommend using it because it's pretty good right now. So, anyway, I'm just gonna talk about the next weapons right now, which is the Owl Weapons, the Owl Lyre and Owl Thorn. Owl Thorn is pretty decent. It does what's that again? I forgot what it's called. Decay. It does decay on M1, pretty rarely. And what decay does is instead of reducing enemy health, it makes it so when you M1 again you do bonus damage. So you see a little 14. That's bonus damage that this weapon will deal. So pretty good. And then the heavy attack is a spin, which does pretty considerable damage with 15% pierce and 40 base damage with the dark element. Now the next weapon The Owl Lyre is a bow which has the ice arrows are converted to decay arrows with 25 damage, and oh, it shoots free. Oh, that's actually pretty good. It's like a better triplex bow. So if I really quickly go to get the elemental quiver, and I have ice arrows now. There. You can see that they knock you back and also inflict decay, which does not seem. Does it do bonus damage? It does do bonus damage. I think the bonus damage scales off your weapon damage, so if you are dealing a lot of damage, you're going to deal a lot of bonus damage, if that makes sense. Now, the last drop weapon I'm going to talk about is the. Is it Eventide or Eventide? I think it's Eventide. This is dropped from. Oh wait, actually, I didn't talk about Owl Weapons. Where they're dropped from? They are dropped from the Faceless, pretty rare, 5%, and you can find them in any painting except the one at Crono at the lab. I'm talking about the one at the Factory Sanctum. You can't find them in that painting, but any other painting, go into it and. Actually, no, you can't find them at the factory painting. Okay, so see the painting at, where is it? There's a painting at Mount St. Rhubarb, and there's also a painting at the end of the river. And those paintings you can kill the enemies. So that's where you obtain that, and then the Eventide is obtained from Misgiving with a. That's around a 33% drop chance because it's competing with other ones. But what this weapon does is it inflicts decay on M1 as well. And these are stats, 50 damage with minus 20% crit. But it inflicts decay, dealing extra bonus damage. And then also, I was just saying, I just noticed this, but see the little dark text, that's like the opposite of getting a crit when a weapon has low crit chance in case you're. So, anyway, this weapon has 3 different heavy attacks. The first one is a slam, where it does these trees, which also inflict decay. The next one is a roll heavy. If you roll and do a heavy, you do a bunch of trees, and does it do impact damage? Yeah, it does. A little bit of impact damage. And then the other heavy, after you do 1m1, you can shoot out these projectiles which inflict decay. Overall, this weapon is, I don't think it's good. It might be good, I've not used it really, but I don't really see it being good. But anyway, on to the shop weapons. Now, the shop weapons should be a lot quicker to cover because they are all found in one area. But the first shops I can cover is Limo over here, and he sells the Malachite Buster, the more Tesla bow, and that is it because I'm not going to talk about these just yet. Now, the Malachite Buster is pretty unique. I'm pretty sure it has poison build up with every M1, so if I M1 for long enough. Does it? Did I just lie? Okay, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. The technique has poison build up though, I'm pretty sure. The technique gives you iframes and it's a dodge which puts down some bubbles on a low cooldown. So, pretty good to evade attacks with it and deal extra chip damage. And then the heavy attack, they spin, which does a considerable amount of damage, and it also has good splash as well to hit multiple enemies, so it's pretty good. And then the Tesla bow, this is your basic bow, which does 60 damage, and so that's what it does. However, with scrap arrows, it does shrapnel, and shock arrows, it does magnetism, like beams. So with a shock arrow, you can see it does like a magnet thing and knocks you really far back. So pretty good. And then the scrap arrows, again, I did not mean that. Wrong bit. Scrap arrows. Oh, I believe. The shrapnel was a bit worse. so it does like tackle damage. I wouldn't really recommend using the shrapnel. I like the shock arrow one better, but it does bleed, so there's that. And then the heavy attacks I can't kick. So, you know, basic bolt stuff. Now, the other weapons, which you might not see currently, is Wayfinder Guiding Diamond and Arcane Musket. These weapons can only be obtained after beating Millennium Chimera and going to the Factory Sanctum. After you beat it and you come through here, you want to go through this window and you'll see the virtual reality device, and in this you have the Crono challenge, where you need to beat level 10 to get the blueprint in order to buy the weapons. I've not beat level 25, I plan on doing that later. It's just a cosmetic, so... Anyways, let me go back. It's pretty hard to craft these weapons because you need a lot of onyx. You need in total 15 onyx, pretty hard to get. These are all the recipes. But I do plan on making a video around tonight on how to get like lots of materials, so stay tuned for that. But I can find, what's the first weapon? Yeah, the Wayfinder. This is another, I was going to say gun, it's such a magic weapon. So it has plasma element, 30% pierce and 28 damage. And it shoots 2 beams, which do pretty considerable damage, and it shoots really quickly. So pretty good. And the heavy attack is a pretty big beam, which does a lot of damage. So you can melt a lot of enemies with that. And the next weapon, Guiding Diamond, is a great sword, I think. It's a great sword, which has the passive to where it uses mana to shoot out light waves, similar to the Jade Twin. See, shoots out these light beams, which do stack with your M1s to deal extra damage. I can get my mana back. Yeah, so you do basically double damage up close, and then the heavy attack does the same thing, but does shoots 2 of them, so you can get like, quadruple damage up close. And then last one is the Arcane Musket, which has 6 ammo, and you shoot pretty decent damage bullets, 40% pierce, 52 damage. But the main part of it is that you can spend mana to load in magic bullets, and you can shoot these to deal even extra damage away. I didn't even know you could do that. But how much can you do? I think there's variants for how many bullets you have in it. Oh wait, no, you can only have... Oh, so 1 does this. And then if I get 2... What's 2 do? 2 does nothing apparently. Oh wait, we're on 3 now. Oh wait, I don't have enough mana, I think. Yeah, I'm confused, how does this weapon work? I'm using the third spell with 1 bullet left amplifies its effects. Let me try that. So we'll go to third spell. It's similar to the Catatome, I think. Okay, well it does nothing. Okay, you know what it does. It puts spells on weapons, that's all you need to know. So, onto the next shop. Now, the next shop here is Betsy, which is right next to Limo. And you can get the Stormcutter, Stormwaker, Oxide Bloom, Oxide Longsword, and you can get these 2 weapons, which you can get after beating Rodini, so I'll talk about them in a minute. But the first one is the Stormcutter. This weapon has really low crit chance and really high pierce with low damage. It's the perk of... actually, I need to showcase this with high crit chance. So, let me get some crit chance accessories. There we go. That's pretty high crit chance, and when you get a crit with this weapon, you will see it does like a lightning shock that puts shock on enemies, so pretty decent. And then it also has the perk of a heavy attack, which is a dash, which does insanely high damage if you land the tip of it. Does it need to be on a shock enemy? Maybe it does, I'm not sure, but it does really good damage. The next weapon is also the Storm Waker, which is a magic staff, which does really high damage and has really high pierce. And you throw it out and it hits 3 times. This weapon's really good. And the heavy attack, if I can get enough mana for it, shoots down 3 lightning bolts, which are similar to Zap Antenna. And overall, I like this weapon better than Stormcutter, I think, because it's basically a melee weapon, even though it scales with intellect. And you can get really high DPS with it as well, because it has really high pierce, which is pretty good. The Oxide weapons are next, and the Oxide Bloom is a flamethrower type weapon, which I think it inflicts poison. I'm not sure because I haven't used it much, but I think if you use it enough it will inflict poison, which is not happening, but trust me, I'm pretty sure it will. And then the heavy attack is a it's just gonna fall, yeah, it explodes, and it does a lot of damage. So you can kind of put that down and then on what with the other attacks. And then the Oxide Longsword is a sword which does inflict poison after you hit enough times. I can actually probably show this. Yeah, see, you get poison, does % damage. And the heavy attack is a double hit which also inflicts poison. Does it bleed or is that just oil antenna? I think it might bleed, but I'm not sure. But the heavy attack, as shown, hits multiple times and does pretty good damage. Additionally, this weapon also has a bonus, well, what's a bug, but if you get Sand Warrior and use the heavy attack, not heavy attack, the aerial, yeah, you can see it kind of hits a little bit more than it should if you land it on the correct enemy. So you can output a lot of damage with it. So really good weapon. But the other weapons here, the Black Ice and the Grand Prix, these are obtained after beating Bodini, which I also have a video on where his locations are. But Grand Prix here is a sword, I'm pretty sure. It might be a sword, I'm not sure. Is it? Yeah, I think it is a sword. Yeah, it is. I've hit it twice. But as a gimmick of doing a wheel at the end of the M1 combo, which is pretty good, that hits a lot of times. And then the heavy attack is a wheel, which also hits a lot of times. And the technique is a uppercut, which, does it give you iframes or not? It doesn't. But if you time it, when it's about to swing, you do this and you inflict fire, and then your M1s also inflict fire. And the heavy attack inflicts fire. And you also swing faster as well, which is a pretty good bonus, everything considered. And then the next weapon is the Black Ice, which is a new gun with 3 ammo, and it shoots ice projectiles, which do chill when you shoot, as you can see, and this can stack up and do a lot of damage with the what's it called? This is like the stack. I forgot what it's called, but it does like a lot of extra damage when it stacks up. And then the technique is switch ammo, where you get poison bullets, which inflict poison after a while. Right? Right? Yeah, see? They inflict poison. And a good thing to note is that switching ammo is actually faster than reloading, which does incentivize using both ammo types. So I do recommend you probably do that. It's pretty good to use. This weapon's really good. But that is everything that you can obtain from here, and we can move on to the next set of weapons. Now, the next few weapons are found from the, what's his name? It's some sort of worm NPC, which is found near the scavenger's place. So you want to come over here, and you want to go right on down there. See him? He's right there. It's not too hard to get to him. You should probably find them by the time you've got here anyway. So, but these weapons are just like worn a little bit expensive. So only get these if you really want to use them. But if you talk to them, you'll see the Womp Womp and Shredder, which cost 30,000 gold each, and 5 Gemini eyes and 5 Icarus chips are like the hardest part for each of them. Actually, no, speeding tickets are probably the hardest part for the Shredder. Oh my god. It's getting hit when I'm in the shop, but anyway, let me go back and showcase them. Now, the Shredder is a electric guitar which shoots out these projectiles that hit like 3 times. Really cool. I actually really like this weapon. And it has a lot of pierce, by the way. 75% pierce, so I recommend using like diamond ring winners to get some crazy damage. Does it have less crit chance? No, it doesn't. No, it's the same crit chance. It's good. But it has a technique where you, in fact, I'll do heavy attack first. Heavy attack is a spin, which doesn't do any damage. However, it is a counter, and it's probably good to try and show this right now. Maybe like the prairie. Because the counter on this weapon is like insanely cool, by the way. If I could find a slime, that would be great. Just need to jump over, and I missed. How did I just miss that? Are we serious? Okay, there, yeah, look. You just dash straight through them. Can I maybe get the thief? No. How quickly do you need to time it? Am I stupid, or is it like insanely hard to time this? I'm timing it like a parry. I don't know how you're meant to do it. You meant to do it. Just die. Move. No, I don't know how this parry works. Let me try it again. I'm timing it. I don't know what's happening. Like, are we serious? Are we serious? How does this work? Sure thing. Sure thing. But I can actually show the technique now. The technique is a riff which empowers your next attack to do. So yeah, it makes it bigger basically and does more damage. So that's pretty good, and it also makes the heavy attack a slam, which does good damage, but I don't have enough mana to use it. There you go. But wait, maybe it was I not at full mana? Is that why I wasn't parrying? You might have enough mana for it to actually like parry. I hope this works. Oh, it does, yeah, you need to have enough mana. That's why it wasn't working. Let me see. Oh, I'm stupid. Okay, I'm gonna stop testing in a second, I look stupid. But the next weapon is the Womp Womp. It's like a trumpet weapon, I think. And it looks like it's a staff. And it shoots out these musical notes, which do pretty decent damage. Did they auto-aim? No, it's shooting a straight line. And these are stats as a lot of heavy cost and cooldown, and pretty good damage. But the heavy attack, there's down this kind of orb that gives mana regen and swiftness. So you give 7 mana. It might to empower your attack. It might empower it or something. I'm not sure, but these weapons are pretty cool. I like the Shredder more though. I think it's a better weapon. But anyway, on to the next set of weapons. Now in the scavenger's place, you can also find this shop over here, or over here, and you can get the scavenger shotgun and the laser rapier. The Avenger Axe I already talked about, you can also get it here, but we're mainly looking at these weapons which are exclusive to this shop. The laser rapier you can actually not get from here unless you have the blueprint, which you get from level 20 of the Crono parkour challenge, which if you don't want to get it, you need to beat the Millennium Chimera, and then run over here. This is where the challenge is, you need to be level 20 to get the vault. And then, these weapons, if I can get the shotgun. The shotgun out. It's just your basic shotgun, it has 2 shots, a double barrel. And that's really it. Does it have good pierce? Yeah, it's good pierce, it's 50% pierce. And then the technique is a explosion. So, can it crit? Let's see if it can crit. I don't think it can crit. But this weapon, I don't think this weapon's good one bit. It's just like, I use this weapon, there's so many better shotguns, like the air gun or something. Like, it doesn't solve anything, is what I'm saying. So, better off using other weapons, but the laser rapier is a bit different. This is a rapier which has an overheat meter. However, instead of filling up, it actually depletes with your M1s, as you can see. You also inflict ionize with your M1s as well. It has the basic rapier arrow as well, which also drains the meter. But once the meter is drained, use your heavy attack to reload it. So, that's all for this weapon, except the heavy attack, which is a big cut, which does a lot of damage. And then when you're less than 50% energy, it is a double hit, which is pretty bad, it's not that good. But this weapon, this is alright. I don't like it too much, but it looks cool at least. It probably would have looked better if they kept the old gems where you could change the colour of your weapons. I think it'd look really cool if they had that, but anyway, that's all for that area. Next up, we are in the post-Pescatarian archives, and in here, you can find, how many weapons? Is it 5 or 4? It's 5. You have the Deep Sea Tome, the Rib Snapper, the Temple, Tinned Calamity, and Bozu. I think that's it. And these weapons are obtained by leveling up the guild. There's a few guides already on how to level up the guild, so I recommend you watch them if you're confused. And if you want to get in here, you need to donate 1 of each fish to this statue right here. There'll be a statue that's like behind this waterfall. You want to donate to it, and once you're in, you go to the 3rd floor, which is where the mirror is, and up here you can join the guild. Now, these weapons in the guild are pretty easy to craft, all things considered. They're just basic fishing items with black pearls, which can be obtained anywhere, but you find most of them in the Star Shore, in case you're wondering. So, anyway, the first weapon is the Deep Sea Tome, which I'm in the wrong place. I am also going in the wrong place. There. This is a spellbook which has 50 damage and pretty expensive heavy. It spawns these kind of like water pillars which inflict soaked, so pretty good with a shock gem on it probably. And then the heavy attack shoots out these dolphins, I think they're dolphins, right? Yeah, which also inflict soaked, so pretty unique weapon. And then the Rib Snapper is a gun which can overheat. It has 4 shots before it overheats, and it shoots out these sonic bursts which launch you back. And did they just not do damage anymore? No, they do. They do like lots of damage. Yeah, 96 damage with a lot of pierce and crit chance too. So this weapon is also pretty good, and it doesn't have a heavy, but it has a kick. So overall, pretty good weapons to start off with. But once you level up, you get the Temple, which is a katana which scales with dexterity and intellect. And this katana has these slashes which inflict. Is that madness? Or no, it's not. I forgot what it's called. It's the brain brawl effect. I'm not sure, but basically doubles your damage. And then the heavy attack. This is kind of damage over time ball with a stomp, which also does insane amounts of damage. Does it turn with your mouse? I think it might. No, it doesn't. It goes in a straight line. But no unique heavy. It's just in fact, does it? No, it doesn't. It's just a regular sword. And then the last two weapons is the Tinned Calamity, which is another staff which has 18 damage with 50 pierce, and it shoots leeches which stick to the target and do damage over time. Weapon does insane amounts of damage, and it's like insane right now. It might reflect bleed, but I have the Royal Antenna active right now, so I'm not too sure. Yeah, it does reflect bleed, so pretty good. And the heavy attack is a spray which. What's the spray do? I'm not sure. It might do something when you have leeches on the enemy. Nah, I'm not sure what it does. If anyone can tell me, then that would be good to know, because I'm not too sure. But the last weapon is the where is it? Umebozo, which shoots these ink bubbles which can inflict poison. Actually venom. Oh, venom or poison. It's like both of them. Might inflict both of them at the same time. But the other part of this weapon is a heavy attack, which is a like punch that hits 3 times. Heavy attack's nothing really to write home about. It might do something when they have poison on them though. Nah. Alright. That's this weapon. And that finishes the guild weapons, and we can move on to the other weapons. Now the next 3 weapons are located at the factory approach. I also have a video on the location of this in case you're curious in the boss video. And the 3 weapons in here is the Teddy, Peluche and Epica. These weapons are they're alright. I think Teddy was good, but they got nerfed pretty bad. Alright. Now the Teddy is a Tommy gun, which has 15 damage and 20 pierce, with a magazine of 20. It has really good DPS. This weapon was like insane when it came out, but sadly they did nerf its DPS a little bit. It does have, no, it does not have bonus crit chance. I thought it did. I'm getting a lot of crits there, so and then it has a basic kick, so you know, basic gun stuff. And the next weapon is the Peluche, which does 56 damage with 30 pierce and minus 30 crit chance. Is a lot, and it shoots really fast with the final shot shooting out some like shrapnel, which does extra damage. I don't really think this weapon's too good, honestly. Like what does this weapon like do? It's just a better revolver, maybe. Like, why would you just not use like Rat Boy handgun? I mean, it kind of just has a better weapon. But anyway, the next weapon is Ithaca, which is a dexterity scaling sword, which looks like this. Looks pretty cool, and I mean it's pretty basic. It's 30 damage, I think 36 damage, 20 pierce. But the interesting bit about it is the heavy attack, which is an explosion, because it's actually a gun sword. So pretty good, and it has a roll heavy, where you do a dash which shoots out 2 bullets. So pretty good. And then without any bullets, it just does nothing. When you slash, it still hits. So there's that. And then the technique is to reload it, and if you reload, and then the heavy attack, you shoot out all 3 bullets, so you can do all that. I also think in an M1 combo, if you... I don't know how I did the dash in the M1 combo then. But if you do, it is a roll heavy anyway, so you can do that to explain it. Heavy attack becomes a lunge after performing an aerial. Or the third hit in M1 combo, did it say? Oh yeah, the third slash in M1 combo. And then... yeah, okay, that's cool. But that is all of the weapons obtained from Wolfgang. So, on to the last set of weapons. Now, in the upper factory, we can find the last set of weapons, which is the Seer Smart Gun, Gemini Blade, and the Daedalus Shot, with the 2 Millennium weapons obtained from beating the Millennium Chimera. So you have to beat that boss first to obtain these 2 weapons. So, let me quickly go back and show the Seer Smart Gun. This is a weapon which has no crit chance, so it's minus 10%, and 32 damage. And it shoots, how many? It shoots like 2 projectiles, right? Yeah, it hits twice. And it inflicts ionized because it's a plasma weapon. So, that's pretty good. It has a kick, and then it just shoots these bullets. And it has the overheat meter, which all of the new tech weapons have, so pretty cool weapon. The next weapon is the Gemini Blade, also obtained in there. That is a sword and shield, which when you M1, you get these stacks. You can have up to 7 from just M1. And then when you do your heavy attack, you will shoot out all of the... not actually all of them, you shoot out most of them. Is it 3? I think maybe 3. They shoot out 3 projectiles, the heavy attack. And then the technique transforms it into a axe, which hits 3 times I think, and shoots out little projectiles when you're in the axe form. You can only gain the stacks of energy in the sword form, by the way, so. And then the heavy attack in axe form is a big down slam, which shoots out projectiles if you have the energy stacks. So, pretty good pierce. They added 35% pierce on it after it came out, so got a pretty good buff, and this weapon should be pretty viable right now. But the next weapon is the Daedalus Shot. I'm pretty sure this is something with shock arrows, right? Yeah. I'll get the quiver really quickly. Where is it? Gel quiver. Where's elemental quiver? Yeah. Okay, elemental quiver and then shock arrows, and then it will shoot out these like kind of plasma things, right? Yeah. Shoots out these plasma balls which go really quick. Have a lot of velocity on them. But the main gimmick of this bow is that up close it has a drill on the front of it, which will do a lot of extra chip damage. I think this is like 100. This is what, 23, like 4 times. Yeah, it's close to 100 damage with the drill. So overall, pretty unique bow, and you want to be up close and personal when you use it. So pretty decent weapon. And then the last 2 weapons of the update are the Millennium Cannon and Millennium Saw. The Millennium Saw hits 3 times, and I think it inflicts bleed by itself, even though I have Royal Antenna on. But pretty good weapon. And the heavy attack is a saw, kind of like dash forward thing where it revs a lot, but the overheat meter here only fills up when you overdrive, which makes you deal more damage and inflict ionized, and you can turn it off at any time. But the overdrive heavy attack does extra damage and a big burst at the end of it, which overheats the weapon. So that is all for the saw. And then the Millennium Cannon has 5 shots before it overheats, and it inflicts ionized as well. does pretty good damage. It does what? 103 damage when I have it reforged, does 90 damage. And the technique for it is a giant beam, which does insane amounts of damage, and it scales off dexterity, and has less crit chance as well, so overall, these weapons are pretty good, and that should include every weapon, I think. I don't think there's any more. If there is, then let me know, because I hope I didn't miss any. I should have all of them. But, yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video, I think, maybe. Okay, so I'm not even kidding, I was just editing the video there, and we got a small content update, so I'm going to be reacting to this with yous, and I should probably get some money first. But, for like 5,000 I should do me. But there's a new range weapon that got added, like, while I was like editing, so that's inconvenient for this video. But it says, yeah, cool range, 10,000, that's great. Apparently it can open the first 2 vaults, so I guess that's convenient for people who don't want to do the parkour, even though it's really easy, it's not hard. But that's good, I guess. And they also buffed like laser rapier and what else? They buffed something else. But cool range. Let's test this new weapon that got added. Yeah, you can hit stuff with it, I suppose. It's like a fist, and then the heavy attack, so badly. This thing sucks. Let's see if you open the last one. I don't think you can. It's wrong. There. Oh yeah, they also removed the Bird the Queen from the Roman bosses, which is really cool. Because I didn't like that. Yeah, you can't open this one, but you can probably open the other ones. So, yeah, new weapon, I guess, if you came to like that. But anyway, yeah, see you guys in the next video.